This was in ninth grade. Um, there used to be a abandoned auto parts store downtown by Honey and Abernathy, and I used to go in and out of there with some friends sometimes. It's just fun to look around. And I told this guy about it once, and I was telling him about how there's cool little trinkets in there. Most of it's been looted, but there's still some stuff. I told him about a welding mask that I found up there. He was like really interested in it, and he offered me $10 to go get it for him. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's easy money. So I went over there by myself, and I didn't bring anything. I just had my phone, flashlight. And so how this building was set up and how you'd get into it is all the doors were boarded up and locked. So you'd crawl to the very back of this building, where there was a little slit in the wall, and you'd shimmy through that slit. It was very tight, and me and the people I'd go in there with would call that part the crack den because it was a crack den. There was some tables and some chairs and some needles in the corner. Um, there was also a big pallet on the floor that you could very clearly tell was hollow underneath. I never lifted it up. I don't really want to know what was under there. But once you get to that spot, um, there's a probably 3 foot by 3 foot hole in the wall, right, like above this table. And you jump up there. I jumped up there. It's pitch black in that room, and you fell down into it. The floor is covered with stuff. It's you can't see the floor. There was just some weird stuff in there. The tires. I found a key ring with a bunch of cassette tapes on it. It's the ring tapes. But once you're in there, I have my phone flashlight out. I'm looking around. There's two doors. One of them is a boiler room. It's pitch black. I never went in there. No reason to. It looked awful. And one of the left was a entrance to a little back area. And then past that was the actual store center. So I crawled through all that. I'm in the store center. It's pretty bright in there because it was midday. Um, and you can either go up or down in this. There's a staircase up and a staircase down. The staircase to the basement was flooded about 3 steps down the stairs. So you couldn't go in the basement. And I needed to go upstairs anyway because that's where the welding mask was. So I started walking up the stairs. Some crackheads had booby-trapped it with a tripwire and like a cartoonish wooden board with one nail sticking out of it that if you stepped on it, it would flip up. I thought it was funny because it was obvious. But I walked up there, and once you get up there, it got weird. It gets a little creepy once you get to the top because there's no windows in the entire upstairs except for the very back. And coincidentally, the very back is where the welding mask was. So I needed to walk back there, and how you got there and how it was set up was there was like shelves in a kind of zigzag pattern. So you walk through it, um, and it's pitch black, and it's my phone flashlight. I'm walking through these zigzags. About a third of the way there, to my right, there's a bathroom. It's creepy, super creepy. Um, it's pitch black. The toilet seat's like ripped off. But I keep going. You keep going. And I'd done this before, so I wasn't that freaked out by this because I'd seen it before. But you about 2/3 of the way up there, you look and there's this old little banking room. It was pretty cool. There were banknotes and checks from like the 1930s and 40s and mercury pens. But I slowly creeped my way to the very front of this building, and It was it was some movie stuff. Um, as soon as I picked up this welding mask, I hear something to my right, um, and I look, and I can barely see him because it's really dark in this corner. But there's just a guy. I think it was a crackhead, um, and he was just looking at me, and he didn't say anything. He shuffled around, and I'm pretty sure this guy was on some hard stuff. He was probably more scared of me than I was of him. Um, but I just like look at him for a minute, and then I have the mask. I don't know why I kept the mask, but I started running, and this was so terrifying because it, I could hear him like shuffling still, and it sounded like he was running after me. I don't think he was, but so I have to run all the way through this zigzag. The room is about 120 feet long, maybe a little more. So it's, I'm going through it, and then I have to run down the stairs over the trip the tripwire and the nail, um, and then I still thought I heard him. So I'm running. I have to run all the way to the back room. Mind you, it's just my phone flashlight. The whole building is dark except for that main area. And I run into the weird room with all the stuff on the floor. And then I have to climb. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta climb up this ledge and get over. And it was very slow. It was terrifying because I doubt he was behind me, but it felt like it. Um, so I climb over this ledge, hop back into the little cracked in area, and shimmy out the slit. And it was terrifying. I have not gone back to that place. It got torn down. It's a parking lot now, and just be careful when you're in places like that, because most likely someone lives there or is doing something there.